Many believe Bitcoin is going to $1 million per coin, but what does that mean for MSTR? Today, I'm going to dive into the math behind just how high MSTR will go if Michael Saylor were to not buy another single Bitcoin on Strategy's balance sheet. And I'm going to reveal where Strategy will rank in terms of their market cap once this happens. You'll want to stay until the end because this will shock you. This will make MSTR more valuable than Tesla, Meta, and Amazon. MicroStrategy would then be the most valuable company in the world and Michael Saylor potentially the richest man on the planet. But before we dive into the math of where MSTR's price is going when Bitcoin hits $1 million, let's dive into when Bitcoin would hit $1 million. Currently, at the time of this video, Bitcoin is around $95,000. Since Bitcoin was created, it had a 125% annual growth rate, which is meaning it's 125% more valuable every single year, compounding. So that growth has been exponential. But let's be more on the conservative side of things because the bears out there think there's diminishing returns. Over the past decade, Bitcoin's annual growth rate has been 45%, though that has increased to 55% over the past 5 years. I'll use the 45% for the sake of this video. With this, Bitcoin is conservatively going to hit $1 million in the next 6.25 years, which would put us approximately at 1 million a coin in August 2031. And let's be honest, a lot can change between now and then, including Bitcoin increasing at a faster rate than before. And that is exactly what MSTR is betting on. Now, for MSTR, at the time of this video, MSTR currently has 538,200 Bitcoin on its balance sheet with an average purchase price of about 66,000. With Bitcoin currently at 95K, MSTR has already seen a 50% increase on their Bitcoin balance. And remember, this is all with assuming that MSTR does not buy another single Bitcoin, even though we have Michael Saylor literally tweeting out every Sunday that MSTR is going to buy Bitcoin by tweeting out his Bitcoin buy tracker saying there needs to be more blue or orange dots here. All right, so now to the math behind what MSTR would be with $1 million per Bitcoin. With that amount of Bitcoin, MSTR will have a balance of $538 billion, which is 200 billion more than Berkshire Hathaway and nearly 400 billion more than Apple, who are the top two companies with cash on the balance sheet. So it would be safe to assume that MSTR would see its market cap explode over $10 trillion, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, let's talk about the narrative around MSTR and its quote leveraged play on Bitcoin, because it means leverage, but not in every sense of the word. Because of the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, MSTR is much more volatile than Bitcoin. On average, MSTR is about 2.5 times the volatility of Bitcoin in both directions. So currently, we're looking at a price of $368 per share with 260 million shares outstanding. So of course, if there's a stock split, this might change some of the projections, but rather with the current stock distribution, this is what we're going to get. With Bitcoin needing over a 10x to reach to that coveted $1 million a coin, that would mean that the current multiplier effect that MSTR has, it'd be safe to assume nearly a 25x explosion from MSTR, giving a price of about $9,200 per share. This would give a 67.32% CAGR, which is slightly better than the 64% CAGR that we've seen from MSTR since first putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So this is not out of the realm of possibilities. If past results are indicative of the future, it seems like this is a very, very real possibility. Now, what would this do to MSTR's market cap? Currently, at the time of this video, MSTR's market cap is at $105 billion, which is a 100x difference compared to when MSTR had not used their Bitcoin infinite money glitch. Now, with the price increase of 10x, this would increase MSTR's price by around 25x. And there's about a 1-to-1 to the market cap. So that $105 billion market cap would now go to $2.6 trillion, which would take Strategy B from the 158th largest company in the world to the 4th largest company in the world. MSTR would then be larger than Google, Amazon, Meta. The list goes on and on. And this would also make Michael Saylor richer than Jeff Bezos with just his current holdings of MSTR, which is right around that 10% mark of stock shares, which would be nearly worth $260 billion. So Elon Musk would then be the only man on the planet right now richer than Michael Saylor. And on top of it all, I think that this price prediction is actually very bearish. Now we're going to go into the MSTR infinite money glitch that they've been using since they implemented this Bitcoin strategy. In fact, they've even expanded it. But for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the flywheel in simplistic terms. This is one of my favorite graphics that I've seen. MSTR will then issue debt to buy more Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin's price increases, MSTR's market cap will increase. Thus, once MSTR's market cap increases, its weight in the indices such as the NASDAQ 100 and potentially soon to be the S&P 500 will then increase. Then MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, will issue more equity to buy Bitcoin. Then as Bitcoin price increases, MSTR's market cap increases, and then the weight in indices increase, it could then issue more debt and start the flywheel all over again. It's absolute brilliance in order to use traditional financial tools in order to go from the old financial system to the new financial system. So Michael Saylor has been the leader of all corporations to get as much Bitcoin as possible. And in fact, I think he agrees with me and maybe some other people who he thinks this Bitcoin price is actually very bearish. In fact, many think that Bitcoin is going to shoot to even higher than $1 million a coin. And I even had a conversation with the legend Jeff Booth, who broke down that Bitcoin is worth $43 million in today's dollars. And that was recorded in January of 2025. So strategy has absolutely changed the game and is starting to create corporate FOMO. If you enjoyed this breakdown of MSTR and my math, I did a full breakdown of how much Bitcoin you need to retire based on some numbers and projections, and you could check it out here. Make sure you hit that like button to help spread the word about MSTR, Michael Saylor, and his infinite money glitch, and hit that subscribe button for more great content all around Bitcoin and financial markets.